So America and allies are arriving in Munich, and Munich, the city. I know it well. I spent a lot of time there when I was a child. The city famed for its beer festivals, its high tech efficiency, its beautiful decorations. Um, so first there was the brutal car attack injuring 36 people, with two left fighting for their lives, and then, as if fate or some unseen political hand had a sense of irony, Marco Rubio's plane suffered a mechanical issue mid-air on the way, forcing him to turn back to Washington just as he was en route to the Munich Security Conference. Well, that might have been convenient. This sort of it seems okay for Americans to criticize European free speech, but when it comes to a potential terrorist attack, they run a mile. Farhad Nouri, the 24-year-old Afghan asylum seeker, deliberately drove his Mini Cooper into a Labour Union protest, and investigators suspect an Islamic motive, with Nouri reportedly shouting Allahu Akbar at the scene and having posted inflammatory messages online, including one ominous call to eradicate all those who are bad to Islam. Now, Nouri's story tragically follows a familiar script. Arrived in Germany in 2016. Asylum was denied, but he wasn't deported because of security concerns in Afghanistan. He lived a seemingly normal life, even competing in German bodybuilding championships. He was radicalized online, probably. He snapped and carried out a terrorist attack at a moment of maximum political impact, the eve of the Munich Security Conference. And the instantly ignited Germany's electoral debate, with Chancellor Olaf Scholz demanding tougher deportation policies, the opposition CDU attacking his failure on migration, and the far-right AfD party claiming such attacks wouldn't happen under their leadership. A moment of horror politicized within hours, minutes. And Germany's federal elections are just weeks away, and migration is at the center of the debate. This attack reinforces long-standing arguments about the risk of failed asylum policies, and Nouri was denied asylum but allowed to stay, a loophole that opponents of the government now see as a security failure. The response was predictable. Olaf Scholz says this perpetrator cannot hope for any leniency, he must be punished and must leave the country. Friedrich Merz, the CDU, says the government has failed completely on security. Alice Weidel, the AfD, the far-right leader, says this would never happen under an AfD government. Well, it's the kind of debate that makes elections less about policies and more about fear. And just as Munich was dealing with its security crisis, Marco Rubio's plane was forced back to Washington. The official reason? A cracked cockpit windshield. A safety risk, no doubt. But when a senior US politician en route to a major security summit experiences a technical issue that delays his arrival right when an extremist attack occurs, speculation must be inevitable. Is it just bad luck, a mere coincidence, or are there questions worth answering? Did Rubio's delay affect key diplomatic meetings at the Munich Security Conference? Was there any classified intelligence suggesting a risk to US officials at Munich? Will conspiracy theorists spin this as a targeted disruption of US leadership at the conference? Whatever the case, Rubio's absence allowed Vice President J.D. Vance to dominate the early discussions, a shift that could have implications in Washington given Rubio's role in shaping Republican foreign policy. And what happens next? Germany will now investigate the attack fully. Was Nouri part of a wider extremist network, or was he a lone wolf? Double down on security ahead of the federal elections, and debate migration and deportation policies with even greater intensity than they already have. And meanwhile, in the US, Rubio's travel delay will be forgotten in 24 hours, but the Munich attack will linger. It's a reminder to both US, to Germany, and the wider world that security is never absolute, policies have consequences, and sometimes planes really do break down at the worst possible moment.